this is a crisis across our country. Deputy Speaker, millennials and Generation Z have mostly given up on owning their own homes. I hear teenagers stressed out, not about missing Taylor Swift concert tickets, but about concern that they will not be able to live, they will not be able to afford to live where they grew up. They will not be able to afford to live in the communities where they grew up, and this is a national shame. Deputy Speaker, this motion concerns our housing affordability crisis, which is a national crisis. Whether this be home ownership or rents, housing is largely unaffordable for most Australians that do not already own their own home. For Australians on the average wage of $85,000, for our first responders, for those who work in aged care. This is a crisis across our country. Deputy Speaker, millennials and Generation Z have mostly given up on owning their own homes. I hear teenagers stressed out, not about missing Taylor Swift concert tickets, but about concern that they will not be able to live, they will not be able to afford to live where they grew up. They will not be able to afford to live in the communities where they grew up, and this is a national shame. In my first speech in this place, Deputy Speaker, I spoke of my commitment to addressing housing affordability. And whilst ever the good people, the electorate of Hughes, provide me with the privilege of serving in this place, I will be committed to this and I will continue to speak about this, because in my electorate this is a massive issue. After cost of living, housing affordability remains the biggest issue that people talk to me about when I'm out door knocking, when I'm doing mobile offices, when they email me. And just as an example, based on figures from CoreLogic as at July last year, Deputy Speaker, to buy a house in Moorebank in my electorate, you need $1.2 million. In Holsworthy, $1 million. In Oyster Bay, $1.7 million. In Janelli, $1.5 million. In Illawong, $1.6 million. In Sutherland, $1.4 million. And price is always determined by supply and demand, Deputy Speaker. That is Year 8 economics. The high costs of housing, the reason that we have the housing affordability problem in this country is largely due to a lack of supply, and this is what this motion is about. The Minister for Housing and the Prime Minister have said over and over again that they will deliver 1.2 million new homes over 5 years. So said National Cabinet. That's 240,000 new homes every year. But a bare few months later, Labor Premier Chris Minns, in my home state of New South Wales, conceded his government cannot meet its housing targets. And, Deputy Speaker, if the New South Wales Premier in the country's most populous state has come out, at least he's been honest, he has said New South Wales can't meet those targets. That means the federal government cannot meet its targets of 1.2 million. Other supply factors that the Minister for Housing, Minister Collins, and also the Labor government overall have been silent about are things like the record number of liquidations in the building and construction industry. According to ASIC, there have been nearly 2,000 construction insolvencies in 6 months to September 2023, 1,810. There is a massive shortage of construction materials, which has not been helped by the fight with the Maritime Workers Union and DP Construction, which the government did not come to the assistance in relation to that, which saw 50,000 containers backlogged on wharves. Many of those containers contained construction materials. So we have that. We also have a massive increase in the cost of construction materials, 30%, the tradies in my electorate tell me. Massive shortage of tradespeople. We've all spoken on both sides of this place about the shortage of trades. There's also the delays and red tape involved in releasing land at both the state and local government level. None of these issues have been effectively addressed by the government, and that is why I say that the government has legislated a failed housing plan. That is why I say the government cannot deliver its 1.2 million homes in 5 years. The government has demonstrated that it cannot develop, let alone deliver, a policy that will address housing supply and address housing affordability, particularly for our millennials and our Generation Z into the future. Thank you, Deputy Speaker.
And I thank the member for Hughes for their contribution.